Patrick O'Brien says Catholicism teaches a different gospel, but he missed the most important word in the very text he quoted. Is Catholic salvation actually works-based? Today, we're looking at the Bible verses that prove this viral video is missing the full picture.
In the next 3 minutes, we are going to show you the specific word Patrick left out, the hidden Bible verse that supports the Catholic position, and why this misunderstanding changes everything.
At first glance, Patrick's argument seems strong. If we could earn heaven, that would be a different gospel. But here is where the argument falls apart.
He specifically points to paragraphs 847 and 1260 of the Catechism, suggesting that the Church believes people can earn their way into heaven through sincerity or ignorance. But does the Church actually teach this? When we look at the full context of Catholic doctrine and the Bible, we see a very different story.
The primary mistake in Patrick's argument is the claim that Catholics achieve or earn salvation by human effort. However, the Church explicitly teaches in paragraph 2010 of the Catechism, since the initiative belongs to God in the order of grace, no one can merit the initial grace of forgiveness and justification at the beginning of conversion.
Catholicism teaches that salvation is a 100% free gift of God's grace. When the Catechism mentions those who achieve salvation through a sincere heart, it specifically says they are moved by grace. This means that if a person seeks God, it isn't because they are good on their own, it's because God's grace is already working in their heart, even if they don't yet know His name.
Since the initiative belongs to God in the order of grace, no one can merit the initial grace of forgiveness and justification at the beginning of conversion. But it's not just the Catechism. Wait until you see what St. Paul says about this in Romans.
Patrick also argues that the Bible doesn't support the idea of salvation for those ignorant of the gospel. Yet in Romans chapter 2, verses 14 through 16, St. Paul describes Gentiles who do not have the law, but have the work of the law written on their hearts. Paul says their conscience will bear witness on the day of judgment. This is exactly what the Church teaches. God is a just judge who does not condemn those who, through no fault of their own, never had the chance to hear the gospel.
Now you might be wondering, what about Muslims and Jews? Patrick brought that up, and the answer is actually found in the book of Acts. As Peter says in Acts 10:35, in every nation, anyone who fears him and does what is right is acceptable to him.
The video suggests that believing is the only requirement for salvation, but the Bible paints a more complete picture. James 2:24 tells us that a person is justified by works and not by faith alone, and Galatians 5:6 speaks of faith working through love. For a Catholic, works aren't an addition to the gospel. They are the living evidence of a faith that is alive. Jesus himself said in Matthew 7:21 that it isn't those who just say, "Lord, Lord," who enter the kingdom, but those who do the will of the Father.
Ultimately, the Catholic Church does not teach another gospel. It teaches the biblical gospel, that we are saved by grace through a faith that must be lived out in love. To suggest that God's mercy cannot reach a sincere heart moved by His own grace isn't just a misreading of the Catechism.
It's a limitation on the power and mercy of God Himself.